Welcome back, everybody. Thank you again for subscribing and joining in to see our YouTube videos. We're back today and we're going to do things a wee bit differently today. So normally the idea of these is that we meet up with partners and individuals who we work with to give you a bit of a behind the scenes so that you can get to know a bit more about us and the charity. But today we're kind of doing it a little bit in reverse, and we're going to be speaking with our CEO Rick, who's over in Australia, because we actually recently celebrated our 10-year anniversary, and we thought it would be a really nice chance to reflect on the charity, sort of how it got started, where we're at right now, and what we want to see for the future of the charity. I'll not introduce Rick, I'll let Rick introduce himself. I think he'll do that much better. But yeah, Rick, thank you for coming and joining us today.
Thanks, Candice, for having me. So a little bit about me. So I started with Epic 19 years ago, or just over 19 years ago. Back then I was an employment advisor. So that was a person tasked with going out and obtaining jobs for people with disability and then placing them and supporting them on the job. From there, I went to a marketing coordinator role. So I looked after a team of marketers. Then we wanted to expand into New Zealand at the time, and I'm a Kiwi. So it was like, rightio, off you go, set up New Zealand. So I did that. I've also managed the fleet, and I'm still involved with the fleet for Epic Australia. We have about 95 vehicles here that we use operationally. And then, I've done a few bits and pieces for the organisation. Then I went from there to, I was New Zealand Supportive Employment Manager. Then I was also Marketing Communications Manager for a number of years. And then to my current role as Chief Operating Officer for the organisation. I took that on in 2020, and Executive Director for Scotland and Europe to a degree.
So I think the first thing to ask there is, you mentioned obviously, or I mentioned first of all, that you're over in Australia and that's sort of where you're from and where you've worked for 19 years. But so why, how all of a sudden did Epic decide to come to Scotland and do some work here?
Prior to Epic Scotland opening, we had Epic Czech Republic and Epic in Slovakia. So similar sort of mission and vision as to what we're doing with those communities there in those two countries. And it was a case of, well, we wanted to have another third partner within the operating circle with Epic over there in Europe. So it made sense. The then chair, well, the then executive director, Keith Martin, and the current chair, who was the chair then, Brother Donald, has a number of connections through Scotland. So it was a bit of what they call a no-brainer. It just made sense to be able to open up and start operating in Scotland and see if we can, help some people. So it's really quite a simple journey, and here we are 10 years later, so it's rather exciting.
Swapping back now a wee bit to Australia, tell us a bit more about what you do there and sort of
Sure.
Why, because it'd be nice to think about when we discuss going forward with Epic Scotland, sort of if there's a mirroring there or a way.
Yeah.
I think we connect and we work really well despite such a big distance. So it'd be nice for people to hear about that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So here, our specialty is disability employment. We are really good at helping people with disability into employment. We've done that for over 30 years here, and it's really just, that's our core mission as a charity. We work all the way down the east coast of Australia, basically from Cairns right down to Tasmania, to Hobart at the bottom of the island. We have about 150, 160 staff. We've got 47 offices. Our main program is disability employment, as I said. There's various streams. We have a disability management service. So depending on the person's disability, whether they were born with a disability or they incurred a disability, and whether it's going to be a permanent disability, will depend on how they are streamed from the government into a certain program that allows us to then help them. So then a typical team, for example, would be a site that will have possibly a senior employment advisor or a senior employment consultant. A regional coordinator might look after a few sites within a region, and then at those sites we have employment consultants and at least one employment advisor. So the employment consultant's really the person that's going to sit with the individual and help them get their CV ready, with a resume, depends what you call it. So they'll get that ready. They'll help them with any pre-employment job skills and just help them get ready for employment and work with them to build their confidence. Then our employment advisor will work. They're the specialist person that will be out there finding the job. So if somebody wanted to work in childcare, we would then be going out and approaching the childcare organisations close to where this individual lives to look to actually place them into employment and support them on that journey. So it might be they might have what we call benchmark hours set by the Department of Social Services here, which could be anywhere from 8 hours a week to 30 hours a week, depending on what their capacity is. And then we'll find that for them in work, and we'll support them and the employer to make sure both parties are happy. And our goal is then to back out of it. So we get everybody sorted, we help everybody, the individual and the company, marry the two together, support them on the journey, and then we sort of back out. And it's all about that person working for that company, that childcare, whatever that company is, and being part of that team. So we work in what we call the open employment market. So that's placing anybody in any industry, so in any employment opportunity, as long as it's legal and moral and ethical, and the person's they're nice people, it works. I mean, a lot of people say to us, "Oh gosh, it must be hard, working and placing people into employment." And it's like, well, it's not actually. It's quite ironic. We get to choose the employer, so we go out and we'll look at all the employers, and if we don't think there's a moral alignment there, well, then we won't work with them, because we want to facilitate a successful working relationship between the person with the disability and the employer. We want both parties to be happy, and it's going to be mutually respectful and all the above. So it's wonderful. Like, there's just so many exciting, wonderful stories that come out of it, and then the flow-on effect. Like, you can see how when we get the individual the job, and then take some pressure off mum and dad at home or whatever. It gives that person a sense of identity. They get a sense of, hey, I'm part of this community. I wear a uniform, or whatever the case is, and it's just lovely. You just see their confidence blossom, and they just grow as an individual, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I've always really loved hearing about what you do over there, and it's certainly something that it'd be great to see maybe us do over here a little bit. I'd like to think that many of the projects we've done over the last few years are sort of linked, or certainly have the same ethos, where it's all about working with and supporting people as they go on their journey, and knowing when to then back off and give them, just watch it be sustainable and watch them make choices for themselves and be empowered to do that, because you've helped them to have that confidence in themselves and build skills. And our youth project over here, I really see as being an early sort of intervention into that type of thing, where if we can make or support young people here to feel confident about what they do, and the fact that they are capable of doing any job they want, or anything they want to do in their life, I could see that then being a really nice step when they want to go into employment. Like, we haven't mentioned so far the mental health awareness trainings that we do. It's been so rewarding going into different spaces and places. It's been a mixture of communities, businesses, and building with them the sort of blueprint for what well-being means in that space, and what mental health understanding mental health means in that space. And it's been so rewarding. And I wondered if you could sort of, because obviously a lot of the tools or the things that we used to make that happen has come from a lot of hard work to build that up where you are. So could you tell us a bit about the mental health awareness stuff that you've done?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're very fortunate here with Grant Thompson. He's a very, and you've done a little bit of work with him with the mental health, and he's done some guest speaking in some of your workshops. He's brilliant. We have a really good mental health team that he coordinates here. So as we know, mental health challenges and episodes can happen. It just happens. So then it's a case of, well, let's build some support mechanisms into place, because everybody has different needs. So we have our mental health team running, I suppose, alongside and sort of embedded throughout our operations. So if a job seeker's struggling and they need some specialist mental health assistance, then they can talk to one of our mental health counsellors who are qualified and trained and actually can give them some tools and tips and tricks to help them work through. And it's always employment focused. Everything we do is employment focused. So it's like giving them a few tools in their toolbox that they can pull out and just helping them to navigate their mental health condition and employment. So yeah, look, it works well. We've just started a new trial that it's literally just launched. What are we now? August. So it literally just launched at the beginning of the month. So what we're wanting to do is actually widen the positive impact of the mental health team to when somebody's at work. So when someone's at work, sometimes they can have a bad day. And so what we're saying is if that happens, here's a number you can call. You can reach back and actually talk to a mental health specialist, and they'll help you work through what you're going through at the time. Still working, but it's just like a bit of a support network, but from a really specialized focus. And if you need more, they'll link you with some mental health services that are really specific for what your needs may be at the time. So that's a bit of a 3-month trial at the moment, just to see, can we help more people that may be needing that help in employment. So previously it's pre-employment, which is still a focus, but now we're just trying to complement with some employment assistance in that space. So yeah, watch the space. We'll let you know how it goes.
Definitely, because we really benefit from the resources and the things that you build up over there. We have access to that, and we share just in terms of the structure of how things work. We have access to an Evo share system that we are then able to do, and we have you guys have a marketing team with Alex and Amy who are amazing that we get to sort of share and work with, and we're really fortunate to have this connection between the two charities and to have you there. And I'm wondering about what you think some of the benefits of the connection would be, and then what are maybe some of the challenges and the things that we need to sort of overcome as time goes on as Epic Scotland.
Yeah, absolutely. I think having a parent company as such with here down, for us down under, that just gives us stability. So like I said, with any business, when it starts, having the stability with a large organization like Epic in Australia to support, to coach, to mentor, to guide, to give in-kind support, as you mentioned, through the marketing team, compliance. There's so many areas of the business that we can actually, tap and reach into, and they can help Epic Scotland. And that's happened, and it's wonderful. I mean, we've got a super talented marketing team, as you mentioned, with Alex and Amy and Ethan, and they're gold. And working on websites and that collaboration and everything we do in that space is really good. I think you can see that through COVID, when a lot of charities were closing down in Scotland, we were able to maintain and actually build. Like, you actually created the youth project. You devised that, you did all the work in that space, and like, that was a really positive outcome, so that we could then pivot and actually deliver a support service online to youth. So really cool. And I suppose looking forward, I suppose for us the goal is always to have Epic Scotland running 100% on its own. That's the true success in it, and that's the goal. To have Epic Scotland grow and help more people in the next 10 years, and to be a strong and vibrant charity in its own right. And it's well on the way. Like, it's absolutely going well. So it's only looking positive for the future from our perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're ticking boxes in terms of the list we had to try and make that local presence be a thing. So we started up a fantastic volunteer team. Federica produces these videos and does all our social media, and we've got other sort of local volunteers, and I think that really has helped. It feels as if we do have a team and a bit of a workforce here. We have the office space now in Finnieston and right in the centre of Glasgow. So Glasgow is obviously one of the bigger cities in Scotland, so it feels like we're really in the hub of activity that's going on within the third sector. We're able to attend different networks and things because we're sort of based, and we can do that. we have regular partners throughout different places in Scotland that we can deliver to, and usually it's about once a month, and I think that's really nice to feel as if you're actually going and there's a consistency there. And just for me to be able to connect, and I'm starting to be able to sort of turn up and be like, oh, hello, and how are you, to different young people, and they're like, oh, Candice, and we probably don't do it quite as exaggerated as that. It's only me that's over exaggerated with the hands, but they see me, they know me, they ask about things
That's
that
right.
I've done before, and it's just a big difference. And I think we're always want to push and push and push, and I think that's a strength. But just even reflecting on how things were during COVID and how we've managed to get in a couple of years, we're well on the way. I'm really excited for the future. So what do you think, Rick, has been our sort of biggest success so far in the 10 years that we've been operating?
Honestly, helping as many young people as we have. Like, we've been in such a fortunate position where we've consistently helped a number of people on their journey, and that's, whether it's been, young people. We start off with a girls program, and then there was a boys program, and now we're looking at youth. We're doing mental health workshops. There's so many people that we've been able to help at a local level, and I would think, help them on their journey to have, a more fulfilled life, and to be, better skilled up for whatever is coming their way. I think that's got to be our success. That's what we're all about. And so to see that, and, honestly, if you were to say, what does the future look like, to do that on steroids, to help more people, and if we can help more people, and if we can even get involved in employment as well, and helping them on that journey with some employers or whatever that looks like, I think that's, it's really important that we stay true to our mission. That's the key here, and that's absolutely, so there is no mission drift, and we actively participate and belong in the community, and help those communities and help those individuals to become strong communities, and it just works from there. So that's what it's all about in our world.
Definitely. And I think that one thing we've also been able to do is really work with communities who aren't already having any access to services, or aren't really working with anyone, or feel intimidated by the idea of accepting sort of support. And we're almost becoming the charity of choice for that. Like, we've been contacted by so many different organizations run by underserved, marginalized, minority communities, who have seen that we've been able to have success really working with people who need that wee bit extra understanding and that wee bit extra support to design. So just as an add-in, I think we've even been able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you touched on it briefly before when you talked about our volunteer team that helps us. Like, we would not be this strong without those individuals. Like, it's priceless, the contribution that our volunteers have done and continue to do to the organisation, like to the charity. Like, it's fantastic. And I know I'm so grateful, you're so grateful. It's just wonderful, because it's like a family. Like, it's really, really cool. Like, it's just, we're all here for the common purpose and the common good of helping others through the charity. So it's really nice.
Yeah, it's so special. Well, thank you, Rick, for joining us today, and for letting us sort of take this in a slightly different direction, where we've had a more sort of introspective look at the charity and who we are, rather than taking it further out. And actually, I think if I could get away with it, I might see if the volunteers would do one of these and talk about our sort of day-to-day working together. So watch this space for that. If I can force them to do it. I'm only kidding, I won't force them, actually, don't put that in. But no, it's been lovely to speak with you, and thank you. And yeah, just for anyone who is watching this today, please always get in touch. All of the contact information is sort of in on the website, or sort of in the description on YouTube. And yeah, just help us realise what's possible, help us get the charity going in the direction we need it to go, and your support's everything. So thank you very much, and thank you again to Federica for helping to produce these videos. And yeah, thank you. Bye.